feels so much more real than the plastic ones you would just buy at the supermarket. It's a beautiful sunny Sunday. The plan is to make a Christmas wreath out of real plants. There are some plants, such as holly, that usually should go inside Christmas wreath, should be part of it, but that one is protected and I shouldn't pick it up. So I'm going to stick to maybe unconventional parts of making the wreath. Maybe some will be more conventional, but I need to take care about these small details, like what is allowed, what not. We will see what we get in the end. I have my equipment here prepared to cut everything I need and a bag to put things inside. First thing I noticed is some kind of rose hip, and what I'm thinking of doing here is taking it with me, because if I cannot use holly, which has a bunch of red berries, I need some kind of red color in my wreath. So I'm going to use this one as a substitute. I think this is the best substitute I will find. Well, at least the best and only red one. So let me get my equipment here and just take a couple of these and then let's move on. This is definitely another thing I need. It will go inside the bag to be a part of the wreath. This one seems a bit too moist. Let me try to find something that's a bit more. This one is better, less wet. So I'm taking this one with me and I'm going to take a few more. Not sure how many. I will leave the ones that are on the tree. I was going to disturb them. But maybe a few more of these that I managed to find on the ground that are not too wasted, too wet. And I'm going then to incorporate them in the wreath. So the most important part of this whole thing is going to be ivy. Well, not this one, but you know what I mean. Ivy in a bit better shape. Let's try to find that. It's a bit hard to dislodge it. Oh, this one seems to really love this tree. See? It really got incorporated into the bark. Holding on very tightly to it. This is some kind of... These are, I guess, older parts. It's got dried up. They are very easy to break. But it's going... Let's try to find something easier. Maybe the ground will make it more easy. So for the ground, they don't really have many things to hold on to. Let's see. Here is one good part. Now I need just to take it somehow. Oh, this part is quite young. It's short. Ivy is a climber, so I guess if it doesn't find opportunity to climb, might not even grow that much. I didn't take that one because it's just started growing. It's very small with cute young leaves, so I will let it be. But let's see. Yeah, it's very brittle. I didn't know that picking ivy will be the challenging part. But yeah, definitely the younger ones are not as brittle. Which makes sense. The hard part is they are intertwined and often blocked by these larger, older branches. Okay, here we go. we have something going on here. Here it is. One part dislodged. I just need to reach out all the way up there to cut it. It seems that accidentally I got the perfect size. So I'll use this as a measure to see how large of the similar parts I will take. Maybe a few more of these and it will be, I believe, quite enough. No need really to take too much of it. So we'll try to take some more. Let's see, what do we have here? Well, maybe I could make a very unusual wreath and put corn on it. Of course, not going to do that. We need colors, more lively colors. Red, green. Well, I have those two so far. I also have brownish from the pine cones. If I don't find anything else, I'm good. I just want to find tiny bit more of ivy, so it's more green, you know, more lush, and it looks prettier. Apart from that, we are almost done. Then of course I'll be getting home and see how I'm going to make it. It's my first time making a natural wreath, but you know how hard can it be, right? Oh, there are some more rose hips over here. Come, I see you. The grass is quite fluffy and in parts very deep, so your feet are falling. Not going to take too much, I don't need really too much. Just a bit of red for the contrast and, you know, to make do because of the lack of holly and its red berries that should usually be there traditionally, but I'm avoiding because the plant is protected. So since I have lack of colors for my wreath, I decided to take some reddish or otherwise a bit more colorful leaves and, you know, incorporate the autumn as well in winter. So this goes in the back. I will see how many of those I'll be able to find. Many, maybe some more interesting ones, some more interesting colors. But yeah, as you can see, everything is pretty much mushy green and brownish here. I saw a nice young ivy on one of these trees, but it's really hard to get there. See all these shrubs and thorns as well. Maybe I should take the thorn. Look at it. A bunch of these things. Okay, that's it. I'm going to try to find maybe a few more pine cones, a few more distinctly colored leaves, and maybe one or two more of the ivy. I didn't know, honestly, because I never tried so far, that ivy is so brittle. Let me try to find it. Yeah, I imagined it as a more sturdy kind of a plant, because when I took a few of these ivies from the tree and tried to make a white circle for the wreath out of them, few of them broke. So take note if you're going to make your own. I think that for some of them, intervention at home will be required to make the broken parts stick together and stuff. I know it's a bit too late for a wreath. You know, by tradition it should have been already put near the end of November, but not exactly following it. And I thought to myself, you know, better now than never. Okay, let's see what we are dealing with here. This is the goodie bag. And of course I need to get the goodies ready. Let's start with the most important part. Well, that is if my cat does not eat it. Hey, that's mine. Give it back. Give it back. Thank you. It's hard to make Christmas wreaths when you have cats. It's also hard to have Christmas trees, of course. A lot of people know that. So, there is this very good quality part of ivy, quite long. I didn't exactly measure it, but as you can see, it is very weak when it comes to the number of leaves it has. So I was thinking to use it as sort of a skeleton for the main thing, something like this, and then put all the others around slowly. I will use this to keep the parts together. And also, as I said, I notice that these things sometimes break. Now, it might be that I did get not the best examples. Maybe I got the older, more dried up ones. And that is the reason why when I did this to some of them, they actually snapped there where the pressure is highest, for example up there. And now I have to improvise and think of how am I going to deal with it. But that is a tip for the rest of you. If you are collecting ivy, make sure it is elastic as it can be, and then take it with you. Okay, so I'm going to try. I think this is large enough size, maybe even too big. This one will be good enough. I will try to keep these two parts together, and then I will keep on with the rest of the work. So I'm not a professional in making knots, obviously, but this is how I've done it so far. I made few sort of basic knots, and I also added extra here to try to keep this end part as close to the main one as possible, just to keep it more sturdy. I think I'm going to use what is left to make sort of tighter knot here to keep it all together. I don't know if I will succeed, but basically that's how I will also approach another part of this. And here it is, another knot. I just put it tightly close to this part that hangs around. Unfortunately, this little leaf here got caught up. I'm sorry, little guy, you'll be fine. Well, not really, because the plant is dead, but I apologize. So this is the skeleton of what we are having here. Unfortunately, there have been some casualties in the process, as you can see, but I will see if I can put it somewhere after I'm done, so it's not wasted. I plan to take another one similar to this, to have two of the main parts, let's call them like that, so then it's easier to add all the other ones by, going in spiral between the two main ones that make the wreath. Now I'm just doing this, I believe there are many better ways to do it, so this is just the way from the top of my head, from my imagination. I am not following any advice but my own intuition here. That means there are probably a lot of better ways to do this, but this is an experiment and we will see how it goes. So this is another one that I plan to add. Quite similar length, quite similar elasticity, and a bit more of the leaves, you will notice. So I will use this one now and see what it looks like in the end. So they are knotted together now, but you will see if I hold this like this, they are not exactly going there in the same, they don't have the same curves and it doesn't look too pretty. So just to add some sort of geometrical shape here, I will use this part here to pull them together, and then we will have a bit more pretty wreath. Looks a bit more sturdy, more stable. So that's it. So even though these parts are, you know, everything holds together, this is now one part that's pretty much stable. I will do this additional thing just to keep the shape a bit prettier, let's say. And here it is. Now the reason why I let these threads hanging around is I might use them for additional parts of ivy and all the other things that I planned to put here. I might or I might not, but at the end, if there is something left hanging like this, I will just of course cut it off. I will proceed to add different ivy parts now. That part is the most significant here, because everything that comes after that is sort of just it's sort of just using already existing skeleton and adding things so it looks prettier. For example, this might be too young. You can see this specific ivy example, the leaves are very small, but elasticity is much better than the older parts. You can see the older ones are more woody and hence of course more prone to cracking. So if I would do this again, I would find something between this young one and the older one. So something with a bit bigger leaves and more older, but with a bit more elasticity like on this younger specimen. Now I'm going to try to do what I planned to do and just in sort of a spiral shape add this additional ivy to the whole structure. Maybe I should have rethinked this, because the part that already has the majority of leaves is now, it got even more leaves, but okay, we are not near the end and there is a lot of other parts to go, and we will see what it will look like in the end. This is one of the snapped examples I was telling you about. So I wanted to put this in my bag, and as I tried to move it, it snapped right here. Not a big deal. I mean, we do have the basic skeleton of the entire thing, so even if this snaps entirely, which is more likely than not, I will be able just to put the pieces in here, and just being very careful not to put a lot of pressure during bending, because this is obviously an older example. And of course this is a note to myself that next year I take a bit younger ones. Still, nothing is lost, and let's move on. So this is what we have so far, and the symmetry is not the best, obviously, but I have some additional leaves that fallen off, and I will just stick them somehow. They do have this stem, so it's easy to find a gap or some way to stick them to the sides that are not that much rich with leaves, let's say. Now we are going with the part 2 of the whole setup, and that is adding a bit of red to the entire thing. So I have a bunch of rose hips, not too many, but still enough to be pretty, and a few of the leftover ivy leaves that I'm just going to stick somewhere where I figure it's the best. I have few of some kind of leaves, not exactly sure, I will check on the species later. I like the color, but on the other side they're pretty much usual one, you know, just green. It will be a nice addition to add at least a bit of contrast to this whole greenish, brownish bunch of things. And then comes the most interesting part, the cones. I am really not sure how am I going to add them. Maybe using the same method, just see if there is a gap just perfect for some of them, and then put them there. Also, I have super glue, and you know, this part, the base of the cones is pretty much flat from what I can see. It could be used as a basis to put super glue on and just stick it like this. I will see once I get to it, but now let's play with the rose hips. Just putting them spiral sort of way. Quite elastic, so I like that. I don't have to worry about their stems snapping. Okay, moving on. So now we have all the rose hips added. I made advantage of the fact that the wreath is not really symmetrical, so this one part has less leaves than the other. So what I did is added rose hips on a bit more less leafy side. That way they really can come into view, and as you can see, these that are on the sides that are more leafy are a bit hidden. Still looks pretty though. We are not yet finished, and we have a challenge in front of us, because I discovered I do not have a super glue. I am going to think about how I will add the cones. Interestingly, adding of cones was the easiest part. I've just put them in gaps, and you might think this is not too sturdy. The fact being there is nothing, not any kind of glue or thread or anything holding it, but the pressure between these branches is so high. The entire thing is sturdy enough so you can count on it not to fall if you walk with this, or if it's windy, or if something unexpected happens. So there is one cone here and another one over there. I'm confident this will stay in place, but if it doesn't, I will make sure I update you. So no lies here. And still no lies here. Not the prettiest thing I ever seen, but I must say that somehow might be my subjective subjective opinion or whatever it might be, this somehow feels so much more real than the plastic ones you would just buy at the supermarket. Of course, there is a fact that I actually had to, have some kind of effort to do everything, from going to the forest, from picking the plants, to entire parts that I done right here. But everything was fun, and in the end, I feel I accomplished something. I believe also, even if I didn't know that I did make effort about all of this, I would still see this as much prettier thing than the plastic ones you can buy just anywhere. It's, how do we say it around here to explain it best, is it has more soul. Now that when all is done, I will put the remaining ivy leaves somewhere where it's possible, and this goes on the door. Pretty much interesting day today. Never done this before in my life. Probably the next one will be even better. And yeah, I wish you all, whoever celebrates, a nice Christmas celebrations, and we'll see you next time.